Hi, my name is Tymoni, and I'm Generation Progress's Digital Media Associate. Now, this year, the US has seen the highest number of abortion restrictions enacted in a single year. And more could be coming after the Supreme Court weighs in on a case this winter that could potentially overturn Roe v. Wade. Today, I'm here with Renee Bracey Sherman. She's the founder and executive director of We Testify. It's an organization that's dedicated to uplifting the voices of those who have chosen abortion and changing the way that the media talks about it. Renee, I'm so happy that you're here. Let's get started. Reproductive justice protects our individual right to become a parent or not in safe and healthy environments. Abortion is a critical part of reproductive justice because it's an essential health care that's common, normal, and yet it's still highly stigmatized. So Renee, what do you want people to know about abortions and the people who seek abortion care?
I want all young people to know that people have abortions for a variety of different reasons and that they may have an abortion at some point in their lives. We have abortions because we're not ready to be parents, because we don't want to be pregnant, because our family size is complete, because we want to finish school. There's so many different reasons, and all of them are valid. All of your reasons are okay. Your reason is the right reason. And I hope that young people understand that it is really important that they show up for their friends and loved ones with love and support when they are experiencing a pregnancy and when they're choosing an abortion.
Abortion bans are in the news all the time, yet they're still legal. Renee, let's talk about what the difference is between the right to an abortion and access to the right.
Abortion is still legal in all 50 states, but thousands of abortion restrictions have been enacted over the past decade and more are coming. It's really important that everyone pay attention to the restrictions and bans on abortion that are in other states or neighboring states, because it could come to your community next. They always have one restriction in one state and then pop it up in three others. It's like a game of whack-a-mole. There's never just one. So it's really important that everyone keeps up to date about what's happening and gets involved in their community to either stop these bans whenever they come into the state or prevent them from coming in at all, to make sure that your community and your state has as much access to abortion care as possible for everyone. The Roe v. Wade decision guaranteed the right to an abortion. But as we know, just because you have the right to something doesn't necessarily mean you have access to it. Take voting, right? We all have the right to vote, but if there's no polling place in your community, if you're incarcerated, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have access, and they can take away that right from some people. Abortion is the same way. If there's no clinic in your community, if you can be criminalized for trying to get an abortion, if it takes days on days on days and tons of money to get it, you don't really actually have access to it, but you do have the right. So that's where we need to make sure that people not only have the right to something, but actually have access to it. It can't be just theoretically legal. It has to literally be accessible to every single person who wants an abortion.
Later this winter, the Supreme Court will take up a historic case that involves a Mississippi law seeking to ban abortions after 15 weeks. Renee, what makes this case so important?
On December 1st, the Supreme Court will hear oral arguments in the case Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization, which is a case that comes out of Mississippi. Mississippi wants to be able to ban abortion at 15 weeks based on nothing. They just want to be able to ban it at that point because they're trying to be a state without access to abortion. Well, what we're worried about is whether the Supreme Court will uphold this ban, which is a flagrant violation of the protections of Roe v. Wade, right, which guarantees abortion until viability. So what we're hoping is that the Supreme Court will look at its own precedent and will actually realize that they should not overturn themselves, that they should not allow this patently unconstitutional law to go into effect.
How is We Testify working to protect people's right to abortion?
As the court hears the oral arguments in Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization, all of us who've had abortions, including all of us at We Testify, are trying to make our voices heard. We're trying to remind everyone that everyone loves someone who's had an abortion, including us. So, in partnership with our friends at Advocates for Youth, we put together a Supreme Court brief that we sent to the justices. We want them to read it. And it was signed with abortion stories and signed by 6,641 people who've had abortions. We're all saying that we've had abortions and we want you to listen to us. We want to make sure that you protect access to abortion at any time and for any reason. So we're making our voices heard, and we hope you will too.
Renee, you do a lot of work in storytelling and abortion in the media, but what is it that the media tends to get wrong?
You're going to see a lot of information about abortion on the news from politicians everywhere. Not all of it is correct. The sad part is that a lot of times when reporters are talking about the issue, they don't really center those of us who have abortions. They don't ask us why we have abortions. And they take some of those anti-abortion talking points and run with them as if they're fact. It's really important that all of us become really thoughtful consumers of news media and challenge where information is coming from and whether it's actually factually accurate. Most information out there about abortion is not factually accurate. Abortion is safe. Abortion is still legal. Abortion is extremely common. It's one of the safest medical procedures that we have. And so if anyone is telling you otherwise, it's probably because they are trying to ban abortion. And that includes some conservative or right-wing media outlets that are trying to spread misinformation about abortion. So it's really important that all of us really check our sources and look at the information. Is it accurate? Is it based in science? We have to be really thoughtful consumers of media, and particularly about abortion.
Renee, thanks again for taking the time to speak with me. If you want to take action or learn about any of the issues we talked about today, just visit genprogress.org.